everybody. It's great to see you out there, all of our fans. The buzz that started the season for all you fantasy maniacs. Remember the beginning of the season? It was all about Tom Brady, Tampa Bay, Antonio Brown, Gronk. They were all going there. The buzz that started, it's still going. The buzz is still there. Tampa made it to the Super Bowl.
Crazy.
Up against the defending champions. And Kansas City, it's going to be a war. We've given you the data. We've given you the picks. We got you covered. I'm G-Man, and that's Team Money. Welcome to Father, Son, and Holy Sport.
What's going on, everybody? G-Man, good to see you. Coming live from the Cloffice, surrounded by my best pants and shirts in here. It's really exciting stuff. Glad to be back on here
Great
with
acoustics, great acoustics.
Oh, yeah, that's all it is for here. I do this for you guys. I suffocate myself in this room for you guys. That's who I do it for.
Personality. Team Money out there in California doing the Cali thing. Nice warm weather.
Oh, yeah.
We're still cold out here in Ohio.
Yeah, I'm not missing the cold. I'm not missing the cold, man. So, that's...
Well, some of those NFL games were cold, though.
I know. Speaking of cold, and what about those Packers shoveling snow off of their field there, and then themselves getting shoveled off by Tampa Bay? What a game there! A little controversial with that fourth down call. What did you think about that? Not going for it on fourth down with a little over 2 minutes left.
Bad call, man. Got to be aggressive. Got to go for it.
Yep.
You're gonna let your team down.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy watching that because you're down 8. You have about 2:10 left, so you're giving Brady the ball back, and all he needs to do is get a first down. And you got to remember, it's not like you're Washington playing with a backup quarterback. You have Aaron frickin' Rodgers.
Yeah.
And regardless if you kick that field goal, you have to get another touchdown anyways. So I don't understand not going for that there and trying to score and go for 2. It was shocking that you're going to give that ball back to Tom Brady and you have Aaron Rodgers.
I think LaFleur is a great young coach. He's going to make mistakes, but he's a great guy, great, leader. And I think Rodgers and him, kind of, synced up this year. Rodgers is difficult to coach. And that guy's got an attitude all the time. And LaFleur did a great job with him. They got very far. But, you get the sense here from Green Bay, and I know we're going to talk about some of the other teams, but of all the teams that have lost in this playoff thing, Green Bay seems like they're devastated. Some of the other guys seem like, hey, we had a great season. But Green Bay seems like the wheels are coming off the cart, just because of this loss.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think, though, this is Super Bowl or bust for these guys now. They made the NFC Championship game last year, so they're expecting Super Bowl, or at least to get there. And Brady throws 3 picks in 3 straight series, and all you get is 6 points off that. Meanwhile, you have 2 turnovers as the Packers, and they get 14 points. I mean, it was difficult. Aaron Rodgers played a good game statistically, but had a lot of chances in the second half to take the lead and did not take advantage of it. So
it's amazing, though, how some of these teams, seem to feel like they had a great season. I mean, I don't get the feeling that the Buffalo Bills feel like they had a bad season. I mean, they love their team.
Yeah, I would be happy if I was the Bills. You made the playoffs last year for the first time in a very long time, and then now you got 2 playoff wins, get to a conference championship game. You got to be happy. I mean, this is Josh Allen's 3rd season. This isn't a veteran-laden team. Like, this is a great year for them.
Same with the Browns. The Browns, I think, are in the same camp as Buffalo. They both feel like they've had a great year.
Yeah.
And I get this feeling at Green Bay that they are devastated. You know, it's just so different, even though they all kind of got to the same spot.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's just expectations going into the year. The Bills wanted to make the playoffs. The Browns wanted to have their best season in decades. And like I said, the Packers had already made the conference championship game. And Aaron Rodgers' time is running out. Baker and Josh Allen are on the up, and Packers aren't. So,
then Aaron Rodgers gets out and says that I don't know how long I'm going to be with the team. I mean, everybody's going crazy about him making that statement. The guy should know better.
I think it's mainly about money for him. If you really look at his contract, he has 3 years left on it. But after next year, they can actually cut him with no dead cap money on the Packers. So really, there's only a 1 year deal in Aaron Rodgers' head. So I think he's playing a little mind game here
That could
with
be.
them. But
That's a good point.
speaking of the contracts, is up for a big one now is Josh Allen. Like you're saying, the Bills had a great season, and he had a phenomenal season, throwing 40 touchdowns in the regular season,
He's not going
doubling what he
anywhere.
did from last season.
He's not going anywhere. They
Great
are going
year.
to lock him in.
Yeah,
He has Buffalo running through his veins.
yeah.
That
He
guy's Buffalo.
He is Buffalo, and he comes from Wyoming, who's similar, blue collar, snowy town, so they love him there. But he didn't play well in that game. A lot of
No.
a lot of people were saying the Bills were the better team. Mainstream media was saying this, that Josh Allen, who's supposed to end up getting second in the MVP voting to Aaron Rodgers, is better than Mahomes now. These were real narratives coming out at the end of the season here after the Chiefs went into cruise control.
Okay, well, let's pump the brakes, as you say.
Yeah, that
You're
was
not better than Mahomes.
that didn't look
And I
good.
think it showed. But I'll tell you what, here's a little something for you. Mel Kiper just came out with his draft, his mock draft, his first mock draft.
Yeah.
He just came out with. And guess what? Buffalo has them, I think, the fifth or sixth pick. You know who he has them taking?
Who?
Najee Harris.
Oh, really?
You look at the. Do you know that Josh Allen was the leading rusher for the Bills in the playoffs?
I did it. They
They
need a
don't have a
running.
runner, man. They
No.
get Najee Harris onto that team. Watch out, fellas.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great pickup for them. That was really their downfall. I mean, I think in their first playoff game, they started out with 25 straight passes to
Yeah.
I mean, they were relying on Josh Allen so much that he was pressing so hard in that Chiefs game. He was just outmatched, and not having a run game shows. I mean, Clyde Edwards scored, Jamal Williams scored for these guys. They're Tyreek on ends. They had no creativity in the run game, even though they didn't have a solid running back, and they were just outmatched. I mean, at every position, it looked like the Chiefs were better. So I like the Bills. They're on the up, but they still have a few pieces away from becoming elite. So
Hey, I know all these people out there, all of our fans. We love you, fans. We love you guys from all over the country. You notice our new platform. We don't have the chart show. We got a new platform here thanks to
yeah,
T
yeah.
Money. So you guys aren't seeing all the charts. You're seeing me and T Money. And it's going to be cool tonight.
Yeah, yeah, excited for that. Thanks to all the production crew behind the scenes. But yeah, it's exciting. So, the next thing on that ticker down there, we were just talking about, the Chiefs outmatching the Bills, and that's because they have two special talents on the outside with Travis Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. Those guys might be the best wide receiver tight end combination in NFL history. What do you think about that?
Well, they certainly are this year. Are they the best in history? We'll have to see. But, man, they're right there. They're right there. They're definitely there this year.
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey, my man, he's on my fantasy team, so I'm a little bit partial. The guy carried me so many times. The guy just put me on his back, number 87. G-Man was hanging on his back all year. The guy's unbelievable, and, it's really coming down to this big buildup of him versus Gronk in the Super Bowl. Who's the
Yeah.
best of all time? When you look at their age, they're the same age. You think the Gronk's older, but
No.
it's just Kelsey has been very durable, and
Yeah.
he's he didn't retire, he didn't really get hurt,
Yeah.
and he was hurt when he first started in the league. But other than that, the guy's been gold. Gronkowski has played 131 regular season games. Kelsey's played 111. Gronk has 3 Super Bowl rings. Kelsey has 1, but this could be 2 for Kelsey.
Yeah.
Uh, but I also like Kelsey nominated for Walter Payton Man of the Year. He's got that fundraising organization called 87 and Running. They donate money to the local Kansas City underserved teens in Kansas City. They're trying to help them out to learn some of the STEM school learning for technology and math and science. He's helping the underserved teams in Kansas City learn that stuff.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. He's from the inner city himself. And, you love him because he was on your fantasy team. I love him. Cincinnati Bearcat, that guy is. Went to UC, was great. So, happy he's doing so great. He's in a perfect position. I think Gronk was used a lot more in Belichick's system as a blocker
Great
and
blocker. Great blocker.
a receiver, where Kelsey has been spread out a little more, so he's not banging as much. Even though he's a good blocker, he's
Kelsey's
not
an awesome
banging as
blocker. You see
yeah
him down the field all the time. That
yeah
guy's
he's
30
great.
years, 30 yards down the field.
Yeah, he's phenomenal,
He's
and
springing people, man.
so I think him and Tyreek together are just unstoppable. First duo to have two playoff games over 100 yards each in the playoffs ever. So first catching duo, wide receiver or wide receiver tight end. So that's an impressive stat. It just shows you how lethal both these guys are. It looked
Lethal.
like Kelsey was open every single play in
They
that
all
Bills
help
game.
each other. Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, they all help each other. They're
Yeah,
all awesome.
yeah, they are
What
great.
else you
So
got, man? What else you got?
well, speaking of greatness here, we got Deshaun Watson. There's been a lot of rumors going around what's going on down in Houston.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson has pretty much made it known that he wants out, which is shocking. I mean, this guy is elite of the elite here. This is a top 5 guy quarterback in the league here. He had the highest rating QB are behind Patrick Mahomes since 2018. That's how good this guy is. It's Patrick Mahomes and him for the past 3 years. Most passing yards of any QB this year, and they won 3 games. It's coaching, it's their GM, who he's surrounded by, how the
Why
front
doesn't he
office
wait for
handles
that
things.
new hire, man? He's going to have a word in the new hire for the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, they aren't waiting. They initially said he was going to have a say in the GM and initially going to have a say in the coach. And now they say, well, we're not going to interview those guys. We're going to hire this GM. We don't even interview the guys that you're interested in. Now they're supposedly going to interview Eric Bieniemy. But, I mean, there's, I mean, it's a little too late. And I think that he wants out because of the owner has said some bad things in the past. And
Yeah,
the culture there is toxic.
just saw a mock trade there today. Somebody ran a mock trade, and he's going to the 49ers. That's the word on the street. The mock trade.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could end up anywhere. If I'm any team that is in need of a quarterback, I'm trading
There's
for
so
this
many
guy.
teams in need of
I
quarterback.
mean, I don't know. I don't know why you would not trade for this guy. Jamal Adams is worth 2 first rounders. Khalil Mack was worth 2 first rounders. What's this guy worth? 3 in a player, 4 picks. I'd give up 4 first rounders for this guy in a heartbeat. He will change your franchise as long as you have the pieces around him and a culture set. I mean, he's ready to go to the Jets. That's how bad it is in Houston. He's ready to go to the Jets. So, if I'm anybody, I'm trading for this guy right away.
Well, hey, I ran a little ranking here of the top quarterbacks, okay?
Okay.
And this is by fantasy
Okay.
dynasty. So we're not talking NFL games, we're talking fantasy,
All
okay?
right.
But this is based on, kind of where they're at. Of course, Mahomes number 1, number 2, Josh Allen. He had a great year with fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay? Number 3, Lamar is dynasty. Remember,
Because of
dynasty
his
is
running ability.
who will be the best the longest. So that's what the dynasty's looking at.
Yeah.
Can they turn points for you over and over year after year? Lamar number 3, Deshaun
Right.
number 4.
Yep.
So Deshaun's 4, Kyler Murray 5. Okay, here comes our little battle here between you and I. I know you're a Herbert boy. Number 6, Justin Herbert. Number
Yeah, buddy.
7, Dak Prescott. Number 8, Joe Burrow, my man.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great young quarterbacks right now. I don't know how great Lamar Jackson's going to be in the future because his passing ability needs to get better, but his running ability is so great. That's why he is up there. But I think, like I said, any team needs to trade for Deshaun. Great in Dynasty. I'd love to have Deshaun Watson in Dynasty. He's going to be great for a long time, no matter where he is. So,
And notice Stafford's not on that list. I thought he might be in there, but he's not.
I mean, Stafford's 32. He's really good, but Dynasty-wise, they're always projecting,
That's true.
probably
32.
10 years in the future. Stafford's another crazy situation. The Lions just haven't been able to get over the hump with him, mainly because they've surrounded him with such bad coaching and talent. So I'm excited for him as a fan because he now gets a chance. The Lions are going to help him look for a new destination. He's got 2 years at an affordable price, I think 21 and 25 million on his contract. He's thrown for the most touchdowns and yards for any quarterback without a playoff win. This guy could change a franchise if he's dropped in the right spot.
All right. Hey, sounds good. Hey, everybody. We're glad you're here with us at Father, Son, and Holy Sport. We have a big show for you. We got Ross v. Ross coming up. We got the T. Ross rant.
Oh
We got
yeah.
Woundwise Trivia of the Week. And the Trivia of the Week, Team Money, you can think about this. Who were the last 5 Super Bowl halftime performances, and who's your favorite? The Woundwise Trivia of the Week coming up later on. We'll see how good Team Money is on halftime performances.
Oh, man.
Okay. And we got
Oh
Brandon
man.
Seich joining us. We'll tell you about
Yeah.
Brandon in a minute. Brandon's going to be our guest on the show. Won his fantasy league, commissioner of a fantasy league, and all around diehard football fan.
Oh yeah.
Brandon Seich is coming up on the show, but that's what we got coming for you.
Yeah, excited for it. Big episode here. Fun talking to you, and now we'll just hop right into
Ross v. Ross.
the
Let's
Ross
do
v
it. Let's do
Ross
Ross
here,
v.
man.
Ross.
It's
Let's
exciting.
cover the best and worst of the new coach hires. Best and worst of the new coach hires. There have been 7 openings
Mm-hmm.
here, and 6 of them are filled. One still open. That's Houston. We were talking about that. What are you seeing, Team Money? What do you think is the best and the worst of the new coach hires so far?
I think the best one's got to be Robert Saleh for the Jets. All right, I think that this was great. A lot of people are going with a young guy, not a lot of talent, but he's connected to Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay. This guy's played football at a high level. He played in college. 7 different coach for 7 different teams, college and pro, so he can deal with young kids. He can deal with the adults. He is. Sorry, he's not having to make a huge jump here. He's been a defensive coordinator for the Niners. He's coached in big games. He's been under Kyle Shanahan, so he understands the importance of a dynamic offense. I think he's great for the Jets as well because everyone talks highly about this guy as a motivator. And that's the big thing the Jets need as well is a culture change. They really need someone in there to get people motivated more than anything, and everyone talks highly about this guy. And that's why even Deshaun Watson wants to go there. To the Jets. This is the most exciting thing to happen to the Jets, and Deshaun's not even a player for them. So
Yeah.
I think that's a huge hire for them. Really experienced, which I like a lot, and a great motivator, which is great for the Jets.
Just seems like he has a great relationship with his players. And you see
Yeah.
him on the sideline, he's so into it. And they come off the field after a great defensive stand, and he's jumping around
Yeah,
on
he's
them
going
and stuff.
crazy.
The guy, you can tell he's a motivator.
Yeah.
And when you look at the 6 picks that were filled, 3 of them to me stand out as positive because of where they were. Look at Saleh, San Francisco defense. Now, does San Francisco have a good defense? I mean, they've
Yes.
been great the last couple of years. San Francisco defensive coordinator. Wow, that sounds pretty good. How
Yeah.
about Titans offensive coordinator? Titans offense, very good.
Arthur
Uh,
Smith.
Atlanta Falcons got the Titans offensive coordinator.
Yep, I
How
like
about the
that as well.
Rams defense coordinator? The Rams defense coordinator, Brandon Staley, goes to the Chargers. So they pick up that. I think those 3 teams had really good play out of those units. The one that I'm going to put
Yeah.
my name in for the worst is the Philadelphia hire. And it's not just because of the hire. But when I say Indianapolis offense, I mean, I don't look back to this year and see a great offense in Indy. They made
Yeah.
a lot of mistakes. Their player personnel and the movement of people and their calls and what they did, and even
Yeah.
the quarterback situation and how they'd move them in and out, and they get near the goal line, they do something. I mean, they were just kind of scattered all over the place.
Yep.
And here's the other thing about Sirianni, who is the offense coordinator in Indy. He took the head job at Philly. Sirianni, 39-year-old guy, great experience up to that age, but he didn't even call the plays.
No.
Frank Reich called the plays in Indy.
Yeah.
And this guy didn't even call the plays. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you something about Philly because I used to live in Philly. All you Philly fans, I love you guys. My wife and I moved to Philly. Okay. And, Team Money was, in the picture. He was coming into the picture, but he wasn't there yet. Okay. But my wife and I moved to Philly. We went to some of the pro games. That's a pro town, man.
Oh, yeah.
They love their pro sports. We went to some of the games. We were getting beer thrown on us and popcorn. The fans are into it. And I look at all of these 7 positions that are open. Houston, Philly, Detroit, the Chargers, Falcons, Jets, and Jacksonville. Okay? The craziest fan base is Philly.
Yeah.
They want to win, man. That's a high pressure environment. Wentz is under extreme pressure. Sirianni is going to be under extreme pressure. These fans
Yeah.
got to win. This is going to be a tough situation, man. with Wentz and this young guy getting this job, man, he's gonna have his hands full.
Yeah, I don't know about this hire either. They basically fired Doug Peterson and then hired his protege's protege. It's like, so you want Doug Peterson Jr. Like, I don't understand. Like you said, this guy wasn't calling plays. The Colts were a mess in the red zone. Completely had that game won versus the Bills, but could not score in the playoffs. I mean, they always kind of looked like they just had to have a big play to get them over the top and back in a game. Whereas a lot of these teams are systematically going down the field, drives together. They looked clunky on offense. Now, that could be because Phillip Rivers throws the ball like it's a brick and typically throws that brick to the other team. That is, could help. But I agree. The
Thank
play
God he's
calling,
retiring. Now, you drove him to retirement,
I
man.
probably did.
You were on him every week on Father, Son, Holy Spirit, man. You've been all over him all year.
I
I
hope the
feel like I
Colts.
should defend Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not good. So I hope the Colts go get someone like Deshaun or Stafford. That'd be a great place for them. But yeah, I don't know about the hire there. He's really young. He didn't impress me at offensive coordinator guy. They're just looking for the next young guy. So, I didn't think it was that impressive. When you have to go, who? After they hire someone, like, these coaching candidates.
Hey, I'm Sirianni, and
like,
you're Carson Wentz. I'm Sirianni. It's now the draft, and we got the 6th pick, and you're Carson Wentz. And what if I go get a quarterback? What's that going to do with my relationship with you?
No,
Now,
you already
you're
got
going to be
Jalen
ticked off
Hurts
at me?
there. You already got Jalen Hurts there. They're not going to draft a quarterback again. But Carson Wentz is already pissed at Jalen Hurts probably, so it's going to be a toxic.
There could be a good quarterback
room.
sitting there.
So they're going to be a toxic quarterback room no matter what. If they
It's
draft
going to
one
be
or
tough
what.
to manage, man. That's all. I guess my point. How's he going to manage through this whole thing?
Yeah.
Hey, man, let's move on to the T. Ross rant of the week,
All
brought to you
right.
by Help Me Startup. Today's T. Ross rant. And, do you have a startup company or a new company idea? Why not get help from the experts that Help Me Startup? Try to use the easy startup tools and their advice to help you get moving on your way toward investment and success. Learn more at helpmestartup.co. Helpmestartup.co, and T. Ross will get you started up tonight with the T. Ross rant. What do you got to talk about here tonight, T. Money?
All right, well, a little more of a serious subject, but it's been talked about in a lot of the mainstream media here, and we were just talking about head coaches. And I want to take a second here to take a step back and look at the whole picture. All right? 68% of this NFL league is black players. Right now, there's only 4 head coaches of 32 teams that are African American. 12%. Doesn't really add up here. And I'm getting really sick of these unexperienced, little experienced, young white head coaches getting opportunities before any of these veteran black coordinators and coaches have a chance. All right? They hired Dan Campbell for the Lions, tight end coach, okay? They hired Nick Sirianni for the Eagles. 2 years as an offensive coordinator. Before that was nothing, and he's only 39. Brandon Staley, Chargers. 1 year as a coordinator ever. He's 38 and connected to Sean McVay. Okay? Meanwhile, we have Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator for the best offense in the league, the Chiefs. 1 interview in the Texans because Deshaun Watson said you better. Leslie Frazier, been a head coach and is a phenomenal defensive coordinator for the Bills. Byron Leftwich, offensive coordinator for Tampa, for Brady and Winston in their best offensive years. There's other small guys like George Edwards, Minnesota defensive coordinator. Deuce Staley, a longtime Eagles assistant and professional running back as well, as put in his dues. These guys don't even get interviews for these jobs. It's getting really frustrating to see people like Josh freaking McCown. Okay, this guy has never coached in his life, just retired from football, and the Houston Texans just interviewed him for a head coaching job. Now, if you are one of these black head coaches and you hear Josh McCown got an interview for a head coaching job, and I'm sitting here coaching my team to Super Bowls and conference championships and can't even get someone to pick up the damn phone, it's got to be frustrating. The NFL's tried to take initiative here with Rooney Rule and other things like that, but it's really got to take a stand where the players stand up and start making a fuss about it like Deshaun Watson is. This is a big reason why he's frustrated with the organization, but I think the players need to start standing up because there's not representation in head coaching and even coordinators uh, for black coaches. And I think it's a shame and they need more of an opportunity. I'm not sure how to go about this other than the players making a stand, but it's just getting frustrating to me that whoever's the young, hip, white coach that coached under Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan get a head coaching job. It's getting really frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like that, and I like that you feel that way, and you have that passion, man. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. And I think if you and I can talk about it, anybody could talk about it. We're
Yeah.
talking about it. I don't like to see, that happen either. And certainly a lot of people that don't want race to come into their sports. They want to go to the watch television, watch that game. That's all they want to watch. They don't want to
Yep.
worry about the stuff we're talking about. But it is good to be able to talk about it, and people should be able to talk about it. And that's how we advance as a society. We listen to each other.
Yeah.
But you look at the Rooney Rule was implemented in 2003. It was really raved at that time as, oh man, this is the answer, and it's been adjusted many times throughout the years. But it really, as you point out, it's really not making the impact when you get 70% of the players that are black, but only 4 have minority coaches. So it's not getting the results. However, we have seen GMs. There's been some progress in GM positions.
There has been.
The 7 GMs open this past cycle, 3 of them filled by black. So almost 50% of the GM roles filled by black general managers. That's excellent. So there is some progress there. I did see today that possibly Leslie Frazier from Buffalo, minority, could get that Houston job. He's in the final 2, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So that would be good because 4 of the coordinators in the conference finals were black, 4 of
Yep.
them, and Leslie was one of them.
Yep.
So if we could get that Houston job, I think that would make some progress in what you're saying.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I'm not asking for it to be 70% head coaches need to be black or even half. I just think it needs to be a fair process. The Rooney Rule is put in place so that they have to interview black coaches, and it feels like they're just interviewing some lowly
Going through the motion.
linebackers coach from some other team they're not going to hire instead of hiring the qualified black coaches that could legitimately be a head coach in this league. That's the frustrating part.
I
Just
think
give
the
them a
vast,
chance.
I think the vast majority. I mean, they're not racist. The vast majority are
No,
not racist.
no.
They're not saying I'm not going to hire this person because they're black. They're hiring their buddies. They went up through the leagues.
Yeah.
With his high school, college, with their friends, and they're like, bring it. It's political, man. That's
Yes,
what
it
it
is. It
is.
is. Just want a chance. That's all. So I thought should address it while we're talking about head coaches, but hopefully that changes as more black coaches get hired here. So
All right. Hey, thanks, man. That's a great T. Ross rant. Great topic. Brought to you by helpmestartup.co. We're going to shift gears here and move on to we're going to introduce you to someone new, Brandon Seich.
oh yeah,
And we're going to welcome onto the father son coast to coast hotline, Brandon Seich. And we know you're going to love this interview, everybody. He's commissioner of one of the top 12-man fantasy leagues in Ohio. He won his fantasy league. Let's bring Brandon on now.
all right.
Hey, we welcome on to the father son coast to coast hotline, Brandon Seich, famous graduate, Olentangy Liberty Patriots in Powell, Ohio,
All right.
commissioner of one of the top 12-man fantasy leagues in Ohio, and general manager of Wubba Lubba Chub Chub, which won their fantasy league this year. Brandon, welcome to the Father Son Coast to Coast
Man,
Hotline.
what an intro. What an intro. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Tyler, for having me. I'm excited to be on. Told I'm the first guest. What an honor.
Yes.
Excited to talk some sports, see what you guys are all about.
Oh yeah,
Well,
super excited to have you on, man. We're pumped. Brandon has been a longtime friend of mine, and we've been in this dynasty league together. Brought Gary in and got him hooked on it. So excited to have you here, man. G-man,
Yeah.
what do you got for him?
the blood runs deep. The blood runs deep. Hey, I'm going to ask you some questions about the fantasy league, kind of get it going. T's got
Yeah,
some other
absolutely.
questions that we're going to get into also. We're excited about having you, man.
Let's get it
And
started.
So, looking back at the fantasy season, you won the league, and looking at your management of your Wubba Lubba Chub Chub, just looking at that team. When you look back at the draft, we got the draft coming up in May. Last year, around May, June timeframe, you were kind of great in the middle of the pack. You were not one of the favorites to win it all coming out of the draft. So
Yeah.
I just wonder, starting off, if we can kind of walk through time, what were your thoughts back then coming out of that draft about how you were going to get yourself positioned?
Well, I knew I had the upside coming out of the draft, right? So, couple of big name guys that I got on my team early were Antonio Brown and Terry McLaurin, right? And you know that the talent's there with those guys, but the question marks around the offense. So you knew coming into the season that you had the upside picks, and then we have our dynasty thing going, right? Our keepers. So I got Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, George Kittle. Man, what a floor to start with, right? The thing that took me really over the top right after the draft was a little guy named James Robinson. I think everybody knows who he is by now.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
free agent acquisition of the year. I was able to snag him off of waivers just before the season started. A couple other league mates. I think
Yeah.
another league mate had him for a while and dropped him, and I was able to pick him up, and he really carried my team. That was the big acquisition that kind of carried me through the whole season.
Yeah, James Robinson and Mike Davis. Mike
Oh
Davis
man,
was supposedly the number one pickup, but I think when you look back now at the season, James Robinson was a better pickup than Mike Davis.
Yeah.
And you think, T?
Yeah, overall, the consistency from James Robinson was a huge pickup for you. You already had two stud running backs. James Robinson at your flex is just crazy unfair. And it's great
yeah,
pickup after losing George Kittle for most of the year. That really
sure.
helped change your team.
So
I
you
mean,
really,
James Robinson has that reliability, right? I think he
Yeah.
didn't score under 10 points like the entire season. Getting that
what?
kind of production from the running back position is unheard of.
Yeah.
Well, no, James Robinson was out there on waiver wires. People were picking him up and dropping him, picking up and dropping him. What made you go get him? How did you know?
I so I didn't know. I would be honest, blanking on the name, but who was the running back that they had the pass catcher?
I can't remember his name
yeah.
either.
You're right,
Oh
right.
my God.
So there was a running back above him on the depth chart, right? So
Chris
Jags
Thompson.
cut- thank you. Oh my gosh, I blanked on his name. He's a
Yeah.
journeyman in the league, always
Yeah.
the pass catcher, right? So they cut Fournette early in the season, and everybody thought Thompson was going to be the next man up. Like, oh, he's the pickup, right? And I'm mowing my lawn and I'm listening to, different radio stations, and they say, hey, if you can't get Thompson, there's this guy named James Robinson who I guess is on, and Divine Ozigbo. Well, Ozigbo and Thompson were both already claimed. So I was like, I guess I'll snag this Robinson guy on a flyer, and it paid off.
Oh,
It's
well.
crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people grab those kind of players, but then if you hold on to them, you held on to them long enough and not let
Yep.
them go.
Well, it's
So
all
that
about
was big.
opportunity. It's all about
Opportunity.
opportunity. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
see, James Robinson got, a handful of carries in the first game, did all right with them. You're like, all right, let's see what this kid's about. And, like, he just kept ramping up and ramping up. And once you see that opportunity building, you hold on to those players.
That's certainly big pickup, man. Big pickup. Now you got him on your team. And, when we look at your team last year, I'm talking before the playoffs, you're in the middle of the season, you got James Robinson, you got this really good team, and your scoring was so up and down. And we look back, it was a 12-team league, and in week 12, you scored 176 points.
Yep.
That's the tone for your team going into the playoffs. But there was other games where you had like 100. What was going on with your team? I think you were second in the league in points overall, but you were really up and down.
So you remember how earlier I said there's the upside with a lot of my players? Well, that upside comes with some downsides. I mean, anybody who plays fantasy knows that it's a roller coaster, right? But when you get guys that have real high ceilings, sometimes that comes with low floors. I mean, Terry McLaurin struggled with quarterback inconsistency all year, right?
Yeah.
He had a stretch of games where he was seeing 7 targets and 70 yards straight, right? And then it dropped down to 4 targets and 3 receptions for 12 yards, that kind of stuff. AJ Brown was kind of in and out with a knee injury. So navigating those waters and trying to find people to plug and play gets really tricky.
176 points. They all put it together in the same game.
Yeah.
Hey, when it comes together, it works.
Yeah, and you had Chubb out for a lot of games there too, so that hurt. But bringing him back healthy was just huge. So
yeah, that was big.
I mean, it's pretty fun. What do you think? You've been a commissioner now for a long time. A lot of people don't know this guy puts out weekly write-ups. It's pretty intriguing. Writes about each team, hilarious stuff. I mean, it's just so funny what this guy does. Paragraphs on every team and every player. It's great. what are you doing during that to, think about each team every week? What made you want to do that?
It it started off just as back in the early days of the league. It was a text message thing. We would go back and forth, and we would just talk about each other's teams. And it started where I would send a paragraph on one person's team a week, just in our text chat, and it would always get everybody talking, right? And that's one of the things as a commissioner, I think that everybody tries to work on or build within their league is engagement and get people chatting, get people talking. Um, Doing a weekly power ranking and writing a little bit about each team did just that. I mean, people, I would work in inside jokes. I would work in little jabs at teams. I would pump other teams up. I would do themes. Like we always have the Halloween theme is like my favorite one where I compare
Your
everybody to
Halloween
like a
theme is
monster.
unmatched. It's
Yeah,
legendary. The
that was
Halloween.
legendary.
Everybody looks forward to it and
Yeah.
talks about it and chats about it, and it just gets people more engaged. Everybody wants to climb in the power rankings. Even if you're not number one, well, maybe I moved from 10 to 7 this week, and like maybe I'm in the top 6, maybe I'm in playoff contention, and it just gets everybody excited.
I think you said you were like Chucky, the doll Chucky, and I was thinking you were saying, you scare everybody, but you don't really hurt anyone.
Nope.
And I was thinking, I was kind of scared. I was kind of scared of Chucky, and I was kind of scared of him. I would have ran if Chucky was coming after me.
My favorite one was when we had a guy who kind of gave up on his team. Right, he was just he was a corpse. You're poking him with a stick, like, hey, buddy, do something now.
Well, your write-ups are awesome, man. I love your write-ups.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
So awesome. We look forward to them all, and thanks for doing all that. And you're running the league. You got this team that's at the top, and you strategically position yourself in the West and the East because you come out of the East region. You're the number one guy in the East, and there were a 12-man league, so 6 of us make the playoffs. One team comes out of the East, that's you. You get a bye, and over in the West, 5 of us go into the playoffs, so it's you against all 5 of the guys from the West going at it, and you got that bye in the first round, so you were 2 games from the title, man.
I know it helps out. It helps out a lot having that bye, and I think that it's great having a 6-man playoff. I would advise any league out there or anybody who's considering it. It doesn't devalue the playoffs at all. Everybody wants to make the playoffs, make the postseason. It gives you something to fight for. Those like middle tier teams are still battling for their shot. So giving the first round bye to the best teams makes it, better to win a lot. And giving the middle tier teams a chance to make it in gives everybody a chance to be competitive.
Yeah,
no,
I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of the playoffs here, we got to talk about your Brownies. They made the playoffs for the first time in a very long time. First road playoff win in 50 years. I mean, in our adult lifetime, we have not seen them even be remotely close to good. No. I mean, it's pretty awesome. What'd you think about this year? How'd you think the ending came playing against the Chiefs? What are your thoughts on this year?
I tell you what, every week you're waiting for it to end, right? Week one, they played the Ravens and got blown out. They didn't even look like a football team. So you're like, oh man, it's just another year for the Browns, right? And then they put together some wins and they beat like kind of a bad Dallas team that they weren't supposed to beat. And like they rattled off a couple of more. And it just kind of kept building momentum. And you get to the end of the season, you're like, oh my gosh, this team's got a chance. Like they look pretty good. And then I got to tell you, that playoff win versus the Steelers was cathartic. Oh, it felt so good to see them compete at that level and play with talent, conviction, ambition.
Gonna go down in the annals of one of the greatest games ever for Cleveland.
It was almost the passing of the torch for them as well. It felt like Big Ben kind of done.
Well,
Baker ready to take over.
We will see. I don't know if I'd say that yet.
Well, speaking of that,
they've got Dwayne Haskins coming in now, so
that's
talk about the next step in the franchise.
Yeah, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, speaking of quarterback, what do you think about Baker? There's a lot of discussion about him being, a franchise guy or not. Where do you see him?
There are big question marks coming into this season, and I think he answered them. He bought himself a year, and I think that anybody who watched him play and watched him the way he was with Stefanski's offense, give him a full off season. give him a year in a system that he learned the year before.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? I think that Baker's gonna get another prove it deal at the end of this. I don't think that he's done enough to get the big money franchise contract that he probably wants. But once again, Baker's always been the guy with the chip on his shoulder. He's going to use that as another chip to better himself and propel himself into even greater excellence. And I'm excited to see where he goes. I'm not ready to push my chips all in on the Baker Mayfield hype train yet, but I think that the boy's got something special. And if we can keep the offense together and the O-line and the coaching staff, we're in for some good things.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. We're talking to Brandon Seich on the father-son coast-to-coast hotline. Brandon, great to have you here tonight. And talking all kinds of sports here, especially football, as we work our way out of the fantasy league through the playoffs now, working our way to some other sports. Team Money?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest game coming up this year now, the Super Bowl. What are your thoughts on these Chiefs? They look unstoppable, but now you got the GOAT, Tom Brady. What are your thoughts going into the Super Bowl here?
Storylines. You've got Patrick Mahomes, concussed a week ago. Can he continue to rally and come back? You've got Tom Brady, the GOAT. Can he win it with another team? You got Antonio Brown on his redemption arc. Rob Gronkowski comes out of retirement and is running around like the young man that he is. It's got everything you want in a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, it doesn't have two teams that I genuinely care about. So that's really all it's missing. I think it's going to be a great game. I think that you're going to get the best out of Tom Brady. He knows his time's coming up. And I think you're going to get the best out of Patrick Mahomes because he knows his time is just starting. It's a lot of intrigue, a lot of interest coming into it. And it's going to be one for the ages, I think.
Yeah. We got Brady. The last team to go repeat was Brady's team, the New England Patriots, and now we got Kansas City trying to do that repeat.
Yeah.
And Brady was the last guy to do it.
Yeah. Do you think that Mahomes has any sliver of a chance of ever catching Brady as the GOAT?
Yes. And because of the contract he signed with Kansas City made an investment in their future when they said, Patrick Mahomes, we want you forever. Literally forever. What was it, like 10 years or something ridiculous like that? That is the kind of money. And Patrick Mahomes said, yeah, I'm going to take it because the back half of that contract is not going to be nearly as expensive as it is up front, which means they're going to be able to load up on talent. They're going to stack that offense with a quarterback who's been around in that system for forever. They know what they have, and they're building it. And boy, is it going to be something to watch for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, if they win this game, the Chiefs, they beat Brady, that goes in his pocket if there's ever a tie. You didn't get LeBron versus Jordan. If you get to, 20 years from now, Patrick Mahomes like, well, I got 6 Super Bowls and I beat Brady in one of them.
And I beat you.
Well,
it's a big deal.
We tend to look at the old guy versus a new guy here. We knew there was going to be an older guy playing against a younger guy as the quarterback in this ball game. But, it could be that Brady could win the next 3 years in a row. He could win these next 3 years. And if he was,
that'd be insane.
That's really going to settle it. Who's going to win this game? Who's going to win? I think Brady's back next year. So they're going to go at it potentially again next year. So can Brady win like 2 or 3 in a row? It's over if he does.
If he wins this one, he shuts it down.
He cements his legacy with this one. If it's not cemented already, it's hard to make the argument he's not the GOAT. Winning with 2 separate teams, I think Peyton Manning is the only one to do that before, right? Broncos and Colts, and he only won 2. It's something to watch with this Tom Brady guy throwing the ball.
Well, who you got then? Let's hear your pick.
We'll
give you
we're
the
trying
spread.
to get some picks out here for our fans. We need
the
some picks.
The spread here is 3.5 favored in Kansas City and 56.5 over under. So what do you like there? Do you like either? What are your thoughts?
All right.
We need your pick, big dog. We need your pick.
All right. If I'm a betting man, I'm taking the over.
All right.
Both of these teams' defenses have underperformed in the playoffs. Both of these teams' offenses have overperformed. We're going to see a shootout. Okay?
All right.
Kansas City's going to win this football. Kansas City's going to win this football game. I think the youth takes over. I think they've been there already. the consistency of that team, the number of people that they've brought back, I think it all plays into and culminates in a Super Bowl victory for Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right. We love it. We love it. Brandon stamping the Kansas City Chiefs as the Super Bowl champs. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
Brandon, well, hey, thanks for joining us on the Father Son Coast to
Guys,
Coast
thank you for
Hotline.
having me.
Brandon Seich, Seich and Destroy, our
All
man,
right.
So much fun.
Powell,
Yeah.
Ohio. We love
Yeah.
having you, man.
It was
Yeah,
great,
keep it
man.
up,
Thanks
guys.
so much for coming. So much fun having
Absolutely.
you,
Thank you
and
for having
looking
me.
forward to a new season here.
Yep. All right,
All right.
guys.
All right. And hey, T Money, I really enjoyed that interview. Brandon is a motivator. You can see why he won that league. Very strategic. He loves fantasy. He loves football. I can see how he won the league, and I'm ticked off that he won.
Yeah. Good win for him. Winning that league. He's a phenomenal commissioner. Plenty of funny write-ups, and always willing to work with the rules and things like that for everyone. And just passionate Browns fans. So happy for him and the Browns this year. He was great on there. He knew what he was talking about, man. He could be sitting in my chair. I got to be careful here.
Hey, we all do. We all do. And yeah, thanks again to Brandon Seich,
Yeah.
Seich and Destroy out of Powell, Ohio, man.
Yeah,
That's
buddy.
where they build the athletes out of Powell, Ohio. Thanks for coming on, Brandon Seich. Hey, we're moving on to the Woundwise Trivia of the Week, Team Money. We're going to see what you know about halftime entertainment.
Oh, man.
Today's trivia brought to you by Woundwise IQ, a patented mobile imaging and analytics software application that's used by leading physicians and nurses caring for people with chronic wounds. Learn more at woundwiseiq.com. Okay, trivia of the week. Who were the last 5 Super Bowl halftime performances, Steve Money, and which is your favorite?
Okay.
And I'm going to count this year as one. This year's one of them.
Okay, this year's one.
2017, 18, 19, 20,
Okay.
and 21. And if you can't remember, I'll tell you which ones they are, but I want to see what you say first.
So I'm not usually watching the halftime show. I'm typically in the back doing a shotgun at at halftime, drinking a beer, and
yeah.
running for the dips. So trying to make
Yes,
my way
you
for
are.
food. But I know this year's The Weekend because I've seen the commercials.
I love that commercial.
Yeah. So and then what do we got? I think last
We've
year
all
was
sung the weekend songs.
yeah. I think last year was what, Shakira and J-Lo.
Yeah.
Okay.
What'd you
And
think
then
about that one?
They were good. I thought they were good together. I wish they would have done them separately. I think they both could have done their own halftime show. It was powerful together, but they both would have been just as good separate. And I'm not sure the order here, but I'm pretty sure Lady Gaga maybe was the year before, and then
2017 was Lady Gaga.
okay,
She
and then
came through the
Beyonce.
roof at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, that's
Came
right.
out of the roof, remember?
Yeah.
Singing Poker Face.
Yeah.
That was 2017.
Yeah, and then Beyonce was in there. I'm not
Beyonce
sure.
was before that.
Okay, so I am not sure then.
All right, 2019, right before J-Lo and Shakira, 2019 was Maroon 5.
Maroon 5, that's correct. Okay.
People kind of forgot about that. See, you even forgot about it.
Yeah.
So that must not be one of the most memorable. But the year before that, I'm surprised you didn't get that one. In between Lady Gaga and Maroon 5 was Justin Timberlake.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to bring up the famous 2004 Super Bowl when Justin Timberlake's out there with Janet Jackson. What a classic combination. What do you think about
crazy.
that?
I mean, that
And
was infamous.
He rips off her top and she's got a shield over her nipple, so it's
Yeah.
not showing. But the freaking crowd went nuts.
It's
And
crazy.
from that moment on, for like the next 10 years, all they put on was live rock and roll bands. You know,
Yeah. They were nervous to put any sort of sex symbol on there.
happen again.
Yeah. That was
but
that was funny.
That was 2004, Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson, and Justin comes back in 2018 by himself.
That was good. I think my favorite of them probably was Shakira and J-Lo. The Weekend could end up being, but I think the funniest one was Lady Gaga when she jumped into the roof, because if you watch it, she like fakes jumping.
Did she really jump?
No, that's what's funny. It's like she jumps
That's
like
the big
this
question.
and like falls into the stadium, but it was like pre-recorded, and then she was like hanging from the rafters really low and dark and lowered
Hey,
herself. So
it
it was
was
fun.
2017 technology.
Yeah,
You know?
that was funny, so I remember that the most. But the best one was probably J Lo and Shakira. You know, it wasn't bad to watch at halftime. You know,
Yeah, they lit the
but
place up,
wasn't too
man.
bad for halftime entertainment, if I might say
No,
myself.
no, no.
I
It
love you,
was good.
Justine. I love you, Justine.
Hey, we don't have any picks this week for all you guys because we're gonna really heat you up next week,
Yep.
going into depth on the Super Bowl, and then we're gonna get ready for some other sports. So no picks this week. That's really working toward the end of our show. We want to thank Woundwise IQ for sponsoring Trivia of the Week. We want to thank Help Me Startup for sponsoring the T. Ross Rant. And if you're interested in sponsoring, let us know, man. One of our upcoming shows, we'd love to feature your company, man. Get you out there, get you some business. And if you like the show, press the like and subscribe button.
Yeah, yeah.
So next week, man, what do we got going here? What are you thinking about for next week, T-Money? Give them a little preview and let's wrap this up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're going to start moving on. We're going to talk a lot about the Super Bowl next week, but then we're going to start expanding into some other sports here. So, could talk about a little bit of golf, a little bit of basketball. You know, March Madness is going to start coming
Daytona
around
500.
soon. Daytona 500. So,
February.
we're going to start diving into some other sports here while the off season for the football comes around, but excited for it. You know, get Gary to step outside that fantasy football comfort zone he loves so much. And,
you tell us what you want to hear, everybody. You tell us what you want to hear.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So I appreciate everyone and look forward to talking to you next week, G.
All right. Hey, enjoyed it, man.
All right.
See y'all soon.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.